Even the best of us, will have days that once we get that mountaintop high, God calls us to walk through a valley and we feel like we're not going to emerge from that valley ever again. I'm reading through the book of 1 Kings, and I just read 1 Kings chapter 18 yesterday. And if you know anything about the stories in 1 Kings, this particular area of the book is talking about the prophet Elijah. Elijah just did many wonderful things for God. He just cleaned house in Israel. Fire fell from heaven, proving that the Lord, He is God of Israel. The next chapter, though, immediately goes into the response from the wicked king and the wicked queen. And the queen threatened to take Elijah's life. And what did Elijah do after being a vessel to hold the power of God? He ran. He ran for his life. And I'm not throwing stones at him, but here's some observations from this running. He ran. He distanced himself from the people who loved him and who helped him, like his servant. He ditched his servant. He went and got secluded and laid down in a cave and said, God, kill me. Some days, our mind and everything within us and our flesh will be totally contrary to God, even though God has worked mightily in our lives over the years. And we've seen the power of God, and we know that God is with us. Some days we couldn't tell because of how we feel. But even in those days, there's a still small voice that'll bring us back up. And we see that still small voice in the midst of all this stuff that Elijah saw take place in front of him, whether it was in person or in a vision. He saw a fire, felt an earthquake, he saw the mountains tear. But in the midst of all of that, there was a still small voice that reached out and asked him, what are you doing? And after he replied, well, I feel alone and I feel like I should just die, and I love you, but nobody else loves you. And God replied to him, he said, get busy. And he gave him a job. He gave him some things to do, and he capped it all off saying there is 7,000 other people who haven't bowed the knee to Baal, the false god, in that day. You are not alone. And so get up, realize that no matter how bad this may feel today, that joy comes in the morning. That God has a purpose and a plan through this valley to shape and to mold you, not just for your sake, not just for your family's sake, but for eternal purposes. And we see Elijah get up, and he goes and he anoints the next two kings of Israel and Syria. And we see him be able to anoint the prophet who would come up behind him in his place when he died. We see God working through a man who is depressed, who is suicidal, who is illogical and irrational in his thinking. And I look into this story and I see a man who is very much so like me even thousands of years ago. Trust God. Listen to that still small voice. Even in the turmoil of this life, lean into God. He'll never fail you.